Welcome, Solar here. A very happy new moon in Gemini to you. As I hit record, it is 17:17 on Thursday, the 6th of June. We are today in the 6/6 portal, and the new moon occurred, I think, somewhere around 4 hours ago, maybe give or take a couple of minutes. And so we are, as I record, I am fresh in these new moon and Gemini energies. A quick reminder to you, I've done my regular article that collaboration with Demi Pietchell of the Starfire Codes. You can find that on my Substack and on Demi's Substack too. I will put the link to that in the description box and comment section below, as well as on the community board. That is my breakdown of what is happening through the energies of this new moon in Gemini, and also Demi's outlook on all of that. So if you are interested in reading that, it's available to everyone to read. I will put the link down below. Okay, for those of you who are interested and have not been on my other channel, Solara Speaks, then please be aware that all my decrees right now on my Ko-Fi shop are for free or by donation, whatever donation you want to give or not give, it's all good. And that deal is open up until tomorrow, where I will it's been like that for about a week. So if you're interested in doing any decree work, I think I have 4 or 5 decrees up there. So the new moon is a good time to do that stuff, to banish and to state what it is that you are declaring over yourself in this brand new cycle. Okay, so we're going to get into this, the energies of today. It's been very, very crazy for many of you. It's been crazy for me. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope that you are doing everything you can within your own power to look after yourself at this time, to stay centered and grounded in your truth, in your peace, and in your power, no matter what is happening around you, because right now the storms are raging without, but the storms must happen externally, and the balance is going to come externally as we hold our peace internally. A quick disclaimer, I'm not for everyone. I am not a classic astrologer. I read the energies the way I read them in my own special way. I fuse astrology with tarot, numerology, and channeling, and so therefore I might not use all the language that you're used to hearing if you're visiting for the first time. So I invite you, if you don't like me or you don't vibe with me, to leave, but please don't get in my comment section and try to tell me what to do, what to say, not to make disclaimers. It's not your place, okay? Yes, I'm not here for everyone. I'm not here to be liked by everyone. I'm over being praised falsely by beings. Right now it's all about rising back into our frequential truth and aligning ourselves with beings who have genuine love and respect for who and all that we are, not just the pieces and the fragments of us that they feel they can exploit, or the things they like about us. I like this about you, but I don't like that about you. Well, if you don't like the whole package, then you can fuck off. Respectfully, and this is where we are, because part of reclaiming the fullness of our power and our frequency means that we must take a stand like that against those energies and beings that would seek to try to alter us in any way, because that's actually false matrix thinking that anyone has the right to come into our energy and try to alter us in any way. So if that's your MO, then you can take several seats, or you can exit stage left, stage right, whichever is your preference, but I ain't here for it, okay? Okay, so with that said, welcome those of you who are visiting for the first time. Welcome those of you who are returning. I thank you, all of you, for showing up here. Thank you for your support. I just did my first open Q&A session this past Sunday with a couple of you from my other channel, and that was just so wonderful to be able to meet and interface with many of you guys, and to be live, etc. So I'm really looking forward to doing more of that in the future. But either way, let's get into the reading. So we have really interesting energies that are occurring right now. So first and foremost, it is the 6-6 portal today. And, the 6 is Gemini energy, but it's also Virgo energy. So we have very, very mercurial energies that are happening right now, of course, because the new moon is in Gemini and because it's occurring on the 6-6 portal. Furthermore, just so you know, that energy of Mercury, the planet Mercury, which is also at 6 degrees Gemini, so we have this 6 theme continuing. The planet Mercury is the planet that gives us access to the grandness of information that we need to access to rise into our truth and to take it back. I will often, when I'm doing personal tarot astrology with clients, or when I'm breaking these things down in my tarot astrology group Q&As, I will often, I will use the example of Mercury, Gemini, and Virgo and how they work. So Mercury is Gemini's ruling planet, and it's also Virgo's ruling planet. But the way Mercury expresses itself through these signs is very different. So I will often say that Mercury is like the US Library of Congress. It has like a kabillion books in the library, okay? And that's just the library. That's what Mercury is, okay? The library pass, your ability to get into the library, is brought to you courtesy of Gemini. So Gemini gives you access to the fullness of the mercurial, the expansiveness of mercurial energy, which is wonderful, right? Because you need that access, but it can also be very confusing if you don't know how to maneuver and to get to where you need to go and to pick the information you need for your very specific and individual purposes in accordance with your own energy signature, divine blueprint, and soul purpose. And this is where Virgo comes along, and Virgo is that trusty librarian who has, been working at that library for decades and knows every single book and knows how to cross-reference things. So Gemini gives you the access to the library, and Virgo is that trusty librarian that comes and says, "What are you looking for, honey? How can I help you today?" And you tell the librarian, "I'm looking for this subject." And the librarian takes you by the hand and takes you and shows you the section, and then goes deeper with you and says, "Well, what exactly are you looking to accomplish?" And you tell the librarian gives you a book. "I recommend this, but let me go to another section and grab this book too as a cross-reference for you to further help you distill this information." That's the Virgo energy. So in other words, this very heavy mercurial energy that is at play today, because the moon is in Gemini, because it's on the 6-6 portal, and furthermore because Mercury is expressing itself through Gemini at the 6 degree point, is very much about reconnecting us to our truth, reconnecting us to all it is we need to put our books back into order. And what I mean when I say to put your books back into order, it's about rearranging your energy field in alignment now with the information that Aries and Taurus has made available to you. So when we get to on the zodiac wheel, we always kick off with a cardinal energy. So we kick off the year with Aries, which is cardinal fire. And then we come and we begin to fix that energy. And then we have the integration of those energies through the mutable signs. So through Gemini season, it's a period of integration, and it's a period of integration by way of connecting to the information we now need to own what it is that we've received by way of the Aries light codes specifically, because fire signs deal with the distribution of light codes, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius in different ways. Aries deals with the distribution of light codes when it comes to establishing the foundation of an energy, so from the head to the tail, hence the reason why in your energy field, Aries energy is aligned with both the crown and the root. But Aries energy is also what connects you to the truth of who you are, your I am truth, who Source or God says you are, what you came here to be at this time, your true divine identity, not not the many personas you had to take up in order to survive in the fuckery of the false matrix. And so this Aries season, you were imparted with more light codes and wisdom to take you higher in the knowledge of self. And then Taurus came and said, do you know that because this is who you are, this is what you have access to? This is how you're to embody and live in this truth. And then Gemini says, and here's the extra information you need now to make this a reality and to cement this. Okay, now Gemini not only does that, but Gemini also, if you're looking at it from the standpoint of tarot, it is the number 6 card in the tarot, right? So it is the Lovers. And to a lesser extent, it is the Magician, because the Magician in the tarot, the number 1 card, is the card of Mercury. Excuse me. So we're dealing with very heavy Magician energies, which will always do with the tools we have available to do all things we came here to do, and our access. And we're dealing with very heavy Lovers energy, and that will always deal with getting past the barriers that have kept us out of our greatness, out of our contracts, out of our way back into the gates of Eden or the fields of Elysian, however you want to, the golden Elysian fields, however you want to see it. It's about going higher in this idea that we call paradise, but is really your divine purpose and truth. It's re-entry. And the way you get back into your divine purpose and truth and into your contracts is by aligning back with the mind of God for who you actually are, back with your Aries energy. And every time you align higher with that Aries energy, you are gifted the resources to roll it out, the information that you need to go higher, and the aligning contracts that are now open to you because of the level that you've reached, and also the accompanying frequency you've now accessed. I hope that is making sense. So today we've got very interesting energy because we've got 5 planets, 2 luminaries and 3 planets, 5 Gemini placements today. And 3 of them are all occurring at the 16-degree mark. So there is a new moon conjunction with Venus, right? Venus is at the 16-degree mark of Gemini also. So we've got the Sun, the Moon, and Venus at 16 degrees Gemini. So we have this 1-6 energy, which interestingly enough, again, is the Magician and the Lovers, because the number 1 card of the tarot is the Magician, the number 6 card of the tarot is the Lovers. So you can break it down and look at it that way. So 16 is the Magician and the Lovers. You can break it down and look at it as the true number 16 card of the tarot, which is the Tower card. And when I did my article with Demi on for this new moon in Gemini, I focused on the Tower energies because they're big right now. And you can break it down further to 7. 1 plus 6 equals 7. And in the tarot, that is the Chariot. So that's Cancerian energy. And the beauty of this is that if you break down the 16 into astrological degrees, 16 is also a degree of Cancer. So we see that there are Cancerian energies and themes that are being underpinned through this new moon in Gemini. For one thing, we're seeing that we are being prepared for something big that is occurring through Cancer season, possibly through the new moon in Cancer, but definitely Cancer season is going to be lit this year, as it pretty much always is, for different reasons. But this year we have 2 full moons occurring in Capricorn at the start and the finish of Cancer season. So we have the first full moon of the year. Sorry, the first full moon of the season, of Cancer season, is the full moon in Capricorn. It's occurring, I believe, on the 22nd of June, and 22 is an astrological degree of Capricorn, okay? So a lot of material things taking effect, but the final moon, the second full moon of Cancer season is occurring at the 29 degrees. So we have the opening degree, 1 degree Cancer, Capricorn, the full moon. And we've got 29 degrees, the second full moon in Capricorn. Okay, so we've got the opening and the closing degrees of the sign. And then smack in the middle, sandwiched in the middle, we've got the new moon in Cancer, which I believe is occurring at around 14 degrees, which is almost going to be in direct conjunction with the fixed star of Sirius. So serious things are happening right up until this 8-8 portal. The new moon in Leo that's occurring on August the 4th this year at 12 degrees, that is kind of announcing that the inversion is over and the new golden age is materially going to start to be seen. Okay, so we've got a lot happening at this time. A lot of the light codes that have been coming through for many of you are going to be activated very powerfully through this energy window for as long as you're not resisting, okay? And this is what this new moon in Gemini is about. This new moon in Gemini is here to shake everything that needs to be shaken because it was built on a faulty, fucked up foundation. And the faulty, fucked up foundation I'm speaking on is the foundation that was laid at the beginning and the start of the inception of the false matrix that of course would have overlapped the closing of the previous golden age. Now, if you've been rolling with me for a second, you know I've been talking about this for a while. I've been talking about this since I think the new year, the end of last year, how 2024, based upon the power of that number 8, the numerology, and the energetic breakdown of what this year means, it is all about very heavy Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio themes this year, and with good reason. That Scorpionic energy, of course, is here to help usher energies where they're supposed to be. Scorpio is a gatekeeper energy. It has the keys both to heaven and to hell in accordance with how we choose to move. So Scorpio is coming to open the requisite gates for where we need to be aligned at this, or where beings have chosen to be aligned at the turn of this age. And please understand and overstand, when I say hell, I ain't talking about the hellfire that many of you may have grown up hearing about in through Christian dogma. We choose our own hell by not choosing ourselves, by living in deception and moving away from source truth. Okay, and so because that is that we are in the age of Aquarius now, and we are rising back into authenticity, and authenticity requires that we live in accordance with our truth, no matter who we are, whether we have accessed high levels of our divinity or whether we're still scraping the barrel trying to siphon other beings. It doesn't matter. Everything will go back into the order of what it really is. And Scorpio is the gatekeeper that opens the gate for all of that. Now, in order for that to happen, you can't start a new cycle without finishing up what was responsible for the previous one. This is just an energetic principle. Okay, so for the past few years, this is why we've been going through what we're going through. And now we've done so much purging, we've done so much clearing, and many of you will know that these energies exist like the rings of a tree. So you break out of one and you've got to go deeper, you've got to go deeper until you get to the core inception energy that began the cyclical nature that formed the rings that went outward to begin with. And this year 2024 has been about accessing that root energy so that it can be plucked out and we can actually build a foundation on something that is new and good and true. I mean, if you're rolling with me, because there are other beings who have chosen to keep those roots and they will continue to build upon that faulty foundation, but they will do it in their rightful place. Let's put it that way. Okay, so this is what the energies of 2024 are here about. And even the 8, when you lay it on its side, it is the infinity symbol, and it speaks about duality consciousness and the laws of polarity and how energy moves and how even something can divide. And this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the division of worlds. And this is where Scorpio comes and assigns beings to the world that they've chosen in accordance with the amount of faith they've had in themselves and their own healing processes. Okay, so what I mean by that is when an energy begins, like if you ever studied mitosis, and you know when a cell wants to divide and become two cells, to duplicate itself, it goes through this process where the genetic information will be pulled to either side of the cell. And what that will do is it will start to pull the cell apart, and then it begins to develop this crevice in the center that they call a cleavage, until it pulls apart, and it actually starts to resemble a number 8. And at that point now it can split, because the information that the duplicate cell needs, it's gotten from the other cell, and the other cell is fine, you know, in its original state. And this is what we're going through right now with the separation of worlds. And this is what the 2024 energies have been all about. So we're dealing with very, very deep root energies that must be exposed, expunged, in order for the foundation that is already being built. Because remember, energy, the way that these cycles work, it's very rare that you'll have a definitive close to a cycle and then time for a new one. There will always be an overlapping of energy. So as something is closing out, it's only able to close out because something new is coming in. So many people will argue, when is the true start of the age of Aquarius? The age of Aquarius has been entering this planet for decades. We just reached the pinnacle where the Aquarian energies far outweigh the old Piscean stories, and they will continue to grow in magnanimity until the age of Pisces is no more. It's like when you take a glass of water and, or like I have a glass of juice here, carrot juice. If I were to take another glass of water, or a gallon of water, right, and I just start pouring, at first the carrot juice would become diluted, and it would become more and more diluted until eventually there'll be no more carrot juice in there, just water. And this is what we're dealing with. We've been dealing with the water. That's funny because I wasn't even thinking about it, but Aquarian energy is the water bearer, right? The water is the Aquarian energy. It's diluting the carrot juice, which is the Piscean age, which isn't all bad, right? There's no such thing as all bad and all good. That's the duality consciousness they needed us to be in the false matrix, to be separate within ourselves. And yet it's still time for it to be closed out. And so the Aquarian energy is pouring the water, and we're at the stage now where we have just a little bit of the color of the Piscean energy is still in there. There's still a little bit of carrot in the juice, but it's predominantly water, and it will continue to flow until there's nothing but water left, pure water. Okay, so the 16-degree mark today is all about the tower. But what is the tower coming in to destroy? Because this tower energy has been prevalent. Even right now with Pluto in Aquarius, last year, 2023, was really prevalent in the numerology of the number 7. It was all about these tower energies. The tower comes to tear down what should no longer be standing in order for it to be swept away, for something new and better to arise in its place. So what exactly are these tower energies targeting right now? Well, we're dealing with Gemini energy, right? We're dealing with Gemini energy, so we're always going to be dealing with the mental planes very specifically, and to some extent the spiritual planes too, but a focus on the mental planes. And the 16-degree mark in the tarot, in the minor arcana, is the 9 of Swords, which again, we have that connection to Virgoan energy. We have it in the 6 because 6 is an astrological degree of Virgo. The 6th house is Virgoan energy. And then we have it in the 9 of Swords because all of the 9s within the tarot are connected to the number 9 major arcana card, which is the Hermit, which is the card of Virgo. And the Hermit is a card that deals with all the things we must go through to liberate ourselves. So we have, the 9 of Wands, the 9 of Swords, the 9 of Cups, the 9 of Pentacles. It's all about rising into a place of, first and foremost, the 9 of Swords, breaking out, liberating yourself spiritually, When you get to the Nine of Swords, it's about liberating your mind from the fuckery. When you get to the Nine of Cups, it's about liberating your emotional body of all of the memories and the woundings and the unconscious emotional energies that you've been creating from, because everything is born through your emotions, through the waters. And then when you get to the Nine of Pentacles, which is pure Virgoan energy, double Virgo energy, then you're dealing with being completely self-sufficient, energetically speaking. Okay, so with the Nine of Swords today, we're dealing with the liberation of the mind. We're dealing with the liberation of the mind on a personal level from all of the fuckery that we've been through, from beings who were constantly using the inversion magic of the matrix to reflect back to us deceptions about who we were as opposed to our divine truth. So we're busting through those illusions today. The Gemini energy is very powerful for bringing forth truth, but it's also very powerful to exploit, to bring forth illusion. The mirror magic tactics that the false matrix used to make everything inverted was done very much so through the exploitation of Gemini energy. Okay, so there's so many ways that that was enacted upon us, but one of the main ways was keeping us very wounded, so that when we saw something beautiful and wonderful in another person, in our wounded state, instead of reflecting that back to them and calling out the God in them, using that namaste principle to help them rise. A lot of the times in this false matrix, because most of us were in karmic arrangements based upon the quantum entanglement programs I've talked about before. A lot of the time in this false matrix, beings would not refuse to reflect back to us our beauty, our power, and our truth, because it made them feel less than in their own woundedness. And so they would do everything to project shit onto us, to pull us down and out of our truth. And so this was happening on every level. It was happening in families. It was happening in the schooling systems. It was happening on the job. Social media came and blew that shit out of the waters. Everyone's comparing themselves. Nobody wants to give due credit to real creators, but everyone wants to follow the matrix puppets, right? Today, that ends. Or I should say, today, what these energies are bringing is the downfall of that shit. And the reason that it's happening is because the inversion that supported this mental mirror magic fuckery is no longer standing, and the new moon in Gemini is making sure of that. So many of you might be experiencing this in real time. The ways that beings could manipulate your reality before to make you think things about yourself that weren't true. The minute that it happens, it's exposed, whether you're around them or whether they're talking about you and it's in your mental field, or whether it's old programming that wants to come back and take you under. You're fully aware it's not you. It was never you. Those thoughts you had about yourself were implanted, and they were implanted very purposely to keep you out of your divinity. Okay, so this is what this is here to break. But the beauty of this is that it's not only doing this for us, it's literally doing this in the Earth's grid system. So remember I was saying there's a lot of cancerian energy here. When you break down the 16, you get the number 7 card, which is the Chariot in the major arcana. When you look at the 16, it is astrologically a degree of Cancer. Cancerian energy deals with the foundations that make up the energy grid systems of the Earth, and how we as light beings connect to those energies, to those energy grids through the emotions that we're going through. So again, the grids of the true Earth are lighting back up, and the old world grids, well, at this point the lights have been turned off pretty much completely, and we're going to see that more as we continue to connect with the energy of the true Earth grid, and we reject those old world energies that were designed to keep us stuck in realities that weren't our truth, so that other beings could feed off of our frequency. So this is preparation for something big that's happening through Cancer season. And remember, I said the new moon in Cancer is almost going to be directly conjuncting the fixed star of Sirius. It's just a couple of degrees off. And some people would say maybe Sirius is even at 14 degrees of Cancer at this point, because although it's fixed in nature, because we're constantly moving and shifting, we have to make allowances for the fact that these energies shift over, decades, centuries, millennia, or whatever also. Okay, so very powerful, serious upgrades coming into the earth and into our light bodies. I would say that the new moon in Cancer is about turning our lights all the way on. So we've been getting glimmers, we've been getting flashes. Some of you might be following other creators who've been showing the pulsating sun and what that means. And through Cancer season, it feels like there won't be any more flickering of light. It feels like those lights are going to be turned on, or that those bulbs are going to be changed, and that light is going to be fully functioning in our light bodies and in the Earth's grids, right? Also. Okay, so we have, the Sun, the Moon, and Venus all in discussion about this right now. And a lot of how this energy, the old world mental programming, has to leave you is by you confronting the fearful states that you were brought into through the programming of your mind. So you might be dealing with this in a variety of ways. Gemini energy is very, very powerful. It's a very powerful season for psychic attacks. And again, this is not because Gemini is a bad sign. All the signs have their polar opposite energies, but it's how that energy, that Gemini energy, has been used and manipulated and exploited against us. Because the truth of the matter is that Gemini is here to bust you out of mental prisons. That's what it's ultimately here to do, is here to liberate your mind so you can expand and go farther and connect more with who you actually are, and to hold the fullness of your power and your presence within your own mind, and to know that it's real, so real that you won't believe the shit that keeps your mind contained. That's what Gemini energy in her beauty and her glory and her divine purpose is here to do for us. But you know what? Gemini energy, all of the signs are here to help us come under judgment also. So the Gemini energy right now is caging beings back into places mentally where they belong, because they have refused to accept realities wider than the ones that they've been programmed into. So it's having a dual effect, right? So that Nine of Swords, this energy is here to bust us out of it, but it's also here to kind of transfer some beings into Nine of Swords energy because they didn't do the work. And it's not you're a bad person, you're a bad energy or whatever, so you get to be punished with the Nine of Swords. No, they have gone against their own souls, and their own souls will take them into that place because it's the only way that they can actually come back up again. The dark night of the soul. So there's a lot of truth that will be coming through this new moon in Gemini, a lot of exposure on a personal and a collective level. And for those of you who haven't been afraid to face the truth, this is the dawning of beauty in our reality, Venus in Gemini. But for those who kept on turning a blind eye, pretending like everything was the same, constantly projecting and deflecting their shit instead of taking responsibility, they're about to go through one hell of a dark night of the soul, because they need it. They need it in order to wake up. If that is part of the plan for them, because not all beings are here to wake up, okay? That's not everyone's soul purpose during ascension. It's not, and some beings are past the point of being able to wake up because they've done such egregious things against their own souls and against others because of that, they've lost the solar energy they need to exit the matrix, and so they will continue to be drained like a battery until they're recycled and returned to source, and can become possibly a new consciousness. That's a whole other message there. So we've got the Sun, the Moon, and Venus in Gemini at 16 degrees. Tower energy. Time to bring down the mental programming. And furthermore, before I forget, let me get into this too. This is a gateway that's opening. So we're not just dealing with a regular new moon. Because we're on a 6/6 portal day, there are further portals that are opening to assist this. So this energy right now is crunk. Okay, it's crunk. And then we have the solar flares happening. On Monday we had the 6 planet lineup. You seeing the number 6 again? Which is again divine feminine energy. When you see the 666 number sequence, it reconnects you to the divine feminine and her placement here on Earth. That's why they wanted to invert it in the matrix and make it seem like it was what they call it, the number of the devil or whatever. It's not true. So we have a lot going on now. Furthermore, the false matrix was founded upon mental magic. They cannot manipulate your emotions. They can only manipulate your mind, and by doing that, get you into emotional states, but it's not directly. They can only deal with mental energy, which is why they use things like media to constantly influence you, get into your waters, get into your emotions, because they didn't have direct contact. They needed to use information. They needed to use the power of the air waves in order to manipulate you emotionally. They needed to use their words. They needed to use mental magic to infiltrate your waters. Okay? Everything in the false matrix was about infiltrating waters, because water is how we move through all realms, realities, and dimensions, which is why the matrix was stuck under maritime law, to keep us stuck only in these waters, unable to traverse past this 3D reality, when that is not your divine truth. Okay, so everything was about getting into your waters by programming your mind so that you would open yourself up to them without knowing, by following their trends, by following their traditions, by following their rituals, by adhering to what they say family is supposed to be, success is supposed to be. All of these were programs. And furthermore, the crux of the mind control of the false matrix was based upon trauma, ritualized trauma, meaning the building, the repetition of trauma, the building of it in our fields to the point where we would continually separate from ourselves. Trauma causes splitting and fragmentation. So the whole point was to constantly use the programming of our minds to get us to split away from ourselves. It's what their education system was about too. They fed us lies about who we are. They fed us lies about what we need to do to survive. Everything was about poisoning ourselves. The way they taught us to eat, the way they taught us to be in order to succeed, to grind, and all of this stuff, all designed to program us into our own destruction and dysfunction. Trauma-based, ritualized mind control. And they exploited the energy of Gemini to do this. The Gemini energy is also how, through the infiltrating of our energy fields, they were able to get to places they didn't belong. Everything in divine order is separated by frequency. And energies cannot go frequentially where they don't have the currency. And the currency is the ability to enter into those waters. They cannot go there because they don't have the frequency. But if they're able to grab a hold of beings that do and hold them captive, then they're able to travel somewhat into those areas, but they need fuel to stay, which is why they were energy harvesting. But it's also why they were opening up wormholes, which is also illegal. Because as beings with who have ascended into high standing based upon the free will choices we've made to honor our truth and other beings. That's what gives you high cosmological ranking, not being chosen of God, but choosing to live in accordance with who God says you are in general. Where was I going with this? Now I done lost my thought in that beautiful, expansive Gemini energy. It will come back to me. What was I saying? It will come back to me. Okay. The wormholes. Okay, so we are here to the higher your frequency is, the more access you have to travel freely, because you have been proven to be entrusted to not only care about yourself, but to care about the cosmos. So it's always been a frequency game. So in accordance with who you are frequentially, as you have a higher frequency, you also have access to certain portals, stargates. Some of you are key holders to that. Those of you who've had your tarot astrology done with me, then oftentimes I'll pick up on that. Those of you who are key holders, record keepers, etc. Right? Some of you are key holders to portals, to stargates. Those of you who tend to have very prominent 11 degree energy in your charts tend to be gatekeepers to different ports, portals, gates on the planet. The 1111 energy is not only about the call of the age of Aquarius and the light worker, it's also about the rising back up of the true gatekeepers. And when I say gatekeepers, I'm not talking about gatekeeping and keeping wisdom for self in order to be greedy and to take from other beings. I'm talking about those beings who've been put in authority to energetically make sure that everything stays in divine order based upon the fact that they have ascended due to the soul lessons they've graduated from based upon the choices they've made, etc. That's the 11 energy. The Gemini energy is very much like that too, hence the reason why we've got the two pillars. Gemini opens you up into a new reality, a new existence if you allow it to. It opens the gates to that. It's also very much connected to it. Okay, so very, very powerful energies that are happening today. A closing to the illegal activities of opening up these wormholes that's already been happening. But now we're about to start seeing materially what that means. Because for so long we've been living with that fuckery, with them, opening wormholes to get where they weren't supposed to be, with them keeping us so stuck that the true portals and stargates that connect us out of here were not able to be open. And those things are open now. Okay, and as we rise into our power, we are reaccessing that truth in our realities too. And as that occurs, we're about to see our own material realities on an individual level shift first. And then, like I said, come Leo season, the new moon in Leo and the 8-8 portal, we're going to start seeing some of these amazing golden age energies begin to materialize in our lives. Because again, that new moon in Cancer is coming to light shit up. Right? The serious energy coming forth. Okay, so a return of the beauty that's been lost because of this constant trauma, ritualized trauma and mind control to keep us stuck. A return of beauty for many of you. For many of you who have done the work and have reached the truth of who you are and are holding that frequency, things are, you probably notice that things are becoming incrementally more beautiful. You might have trouble trusting those things because you're so used to the carpet being pulled out from under you, or the wool being, pulled from what is, I forget the saying, but you get what I mean. You're so used to that kind of energy that it's, you deal with it kind of like with trepidation. But the beauty is coming, and it will continue to flow forth as you continue to hold your frequency and the truth of who you are and your power, and you speak that, and you don't allow energies that seek to alter or change you to mess with your mind. And this is why I do my disclaimer, by the way, because when I state that, I am making a claim about my frequency and the fact that I won't let any other beings try to come and drag me down into any realities that I am not consciously consenting to. Because the false matrix, because it was all about the mind control, the fuckery, mental energy is connected to the mouth. It's connected to words. It's connected to thoughts, yes, but it's connected to words also. So when beings use their words to try to cut you down, manipulate you, change you, alter you, do anything but help you rise in your power and your truth, and sometimes telling someone to go fuck themselves is helping them to rise in their power and truth, FYI. But anyway, if we're doing that, then we are trying to play God over them, and we're trying to program them, and we're not here to program anyone. This is where the narcissistic agendas and templates of the false matrix had everyone playing God over other beings. Nobody is here to play God over you but yourself. God, him, herself, themselves don't even try to get in the way of your own free will. What the fuck gives anyone else the right to tell you how to be? Right? So I can get off on a tangent. I already kind of am, but we already kind of touched on this Mercury. Let's go into it a little bit more. So Mercury is the magician. Mercury is at 6 degrees Gemini. Mercury is the magician. It is the planet that rules over Gemini. The 6th degree card is the 8 of Swords in the Minor Arcana. The 6 again is Virgo energy, astrologically speaking. And to a lesser extent, we also have some connection to, of course, the devil, because whenever we're dealing with the lovers, we're also dealing with the devil, because Gemini energy deals with mirrors, deals with inversions. So we're dealing with very powerful devil energies when we're dealing with very powerful lovers energies. We have lovers opening us up, opening the gates to new realities, and we have the devil energies, all those things that would try to bind and block us out, right? So the Mercury energy is here to help us access the information today we need to break out of any mental prisons where we are, they just said nursing thoughts and beliefs about ourselves that are not in alignment with our truth and where we are headed. So in that way, again, when something needs to be exposed in our reality, it will be exposed by it occurring oftentimes, by it playing out in some kind of way. Not for nothing, that 8 of Swords is connected to the 8 again. It's connected to the Scorpionic energy. This is about renewing and transforming our minds, right? But one thing you should also know, this isn't only about the breaking of the mental patterns in the way you think. This is also about busting beings out of portals and dimensions that they never should have been in the first place. Gemini energy deals with the traveling. Gemini and Sagittarius are very much connected to travel, and Gemini is more about the places that we can travel cosmologically based upon how we set our minds. Say that again. The way we can travel cosmologically based upon how we set our minds. And this is why the Matrix set us all into stall mode, so we couldn't get out of here. But Gemini is what helps you to reprogram your thoughts so you can move in accordance with who you are again. so that by the time Cancer season comes and Cancer comes to light up your energy field to help you learn how to take that mental energy and use it to drive your emotions to go where you want to be. That's how your light body works. It's how your ship works. You are a ship, energetically speaking. So many of us were bound in different dimensions and prisons that we were placed into by way of programming us mentally out of ourselves. And this is why a lot of the there's been a lot of abuse in the false matrix, and there's been, against high frequency beings, a lot of rejection. We are love-based beings. We're not here to deal with that level of rejection, and it does something to us. This is why so many of us struggled so much in the false matrix, because we are love-based beings. We can't handle that kind of energy, which is why so many of us struggled so badly, whereas other beings, they could thrive in this fake-ass realm, because they were fear-based beings. So they love that shit. They love to make people afraid of them. They love to take shit from other people and make them feel as if they were better than them, etc. They love those mind games and the way that they could feel big and powerful off of making other beings feel small. But love-based beings, they don't operate and move like that. We fall into those human tendencies. All of us have in some way, shape, or form, but it's not something that we derive real pleasure from, like some beings do. So it was really important that they would keep us being rejected and dejected, and they used social media to do this too, which is why in 2020 they started shadow banning all of us and trying to silence our voice and our truth to make it seem, and this is an ongoing theme, to make it seem as if we weren't important, to make it seem as if we weren't special because we weren't in alignment with the false matrix. We probably never have been, and we were always outcast. That was supposed to traumatize us sufficiently for us to be so down on ourselves that we wouldn't be able to rise out of that and to heal ourselves, because the whole point of ascension, a lot of ascension, and the ability for the frequency of the earth to change was really hinged on many of you, because of the emotional quotient you carry, because of the frequency you carry. Not all beings have the same frequency, so some of you, the most dejected, rejected, neglected, repressed beings, the ones who are made to feel the worst, are the ones who actually have the most cosmological wealth, and your waking up literally can cause an earthquake. Literally. You feel me? Literally. And so, to that extent, it's why they had to keep you so disempowered. So Mercury is showing us the way out of any portals, dimensions, mindsets, wormholes, black holes they try to put us into also energetically. Even in the dream state, that's what it was about. I've talked about this before. When you have those dreams and you're in a train, in a car, in an airplane, an airport, anything to do with what we consider to be 3D transportation was a soul trafficking operation in the 4D to keep you bound and stuck in places that you shouldn't have been. And some of you would have had dreams with the very beings who were close to you, smiling, kikiing in your face, pretending to be your friends and your family, who had taken control of the wheel of your vehicle. You might have had dreams about that. You were a backseat driver in your own reality because these assholes done contracted you for matrix trinkets. Ooh, Mars and Aries at 28 degrees. Mars and Aries at 28 degrees. So Mars is wrapping up its time in Aries, and Mars likes being in Aries. It's one of the signs that it rules. It rules Aries and it co-rules Scorpio. of course. So we got Mars in Aries at 28 degrees, and 28 degrees is a degree of Cancer. So we've got all of this in the degrees, at least, this foreshadowing of Cancerian energy, right? So all of this speaking of the light body, of the reprogramming or the recalibration of our waters, our emotional fields, so that we can birth things that are actually now in accordance with who we are, as opposed to what other entities, energies, systems, institutions try to program us out of. And Aries is like, through this new moon, is fighting. And the title for my new moon in Gemini reading that I did, the collaboration I did with Demi of Starfire Codes, that was the title of it. It was Tick, 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 Boom. Because I kept on hearing that a DJ Jazzy Jeff and Wilson and Fresh Prince song from the 90s. I don't know if y'all remember. Boom, shake, shake, shake the room. Boom, shake, shake, shake the room. Boom, shake, shake, shake the room. Tick, 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 tick. And the room that we're talking about is the matrix, but it's the mirrors. It's the mirrors. The mirrors are just, they've been shaking. I just see, the speaker, like, reverberating. That's been what's happening in the false matrix. The mirrors have been like this, which is why everyone's like in the tizzy, right? Everyone's in the tizzy right now. The mirrors have been shaking because some people can't handle the truth, and some people want to push it back onto their lies, back onto you, and you're like, I've done. Seeing what you're doing, I'm not taking that shit anymore. Take your own fear back. That's another thing that's been coming through really powerfully the past few days, is the retransference of fear. Like I said, many of y'all are not, you guys are love-based beings, except you ones that like to, spy. The rest of y'all are love-based beings. You're not here to be containers of fear, but you've been being containers of fear because of the karmic fuckery of the false matrix, which was designed to get you to constantly transmute and hold other beings' fear, to put them in positions where they frequently shouldn't be through this false matrix system. So there's been a transference. Everything is coming back to where it's supposed to be. And remember, I said to you at the beginning, that's what the Scorpio energy's been doing all year. Scorpio got the keys. And Virgo energy is the one that takes the keys to Scorpio too. That's why in the Hermit card, you see him walking. He's got keys. He's taking them to Scorpio because Virgo and Scorpio are connected, right? They've got the same glyph. So here we go. That Virgo and energy again. There's keys. Transference of the keys, transference of the codes. And that must mean transference of the frequencies. The things that don't belong to you anymore are going back to other beings. And you know what? When you are who you are and you know who you are, that's a wonderful thing. Please take your shit. I don't want it. Because if I have your shit, that means that somehow mine is clouded and I like my shit. Give me my shit back and take yours. And that's what's happening right now. And you see it. You see it in beings who once upon a time might have scared you. They don't anymore. Not only do they not anymore, but now they're scared of you. Because of that transference, you're giving back to them all of the fear they tried to project and get you to contained so that you would live a lower existence when you have every right to be here. It's going back to them now. And it's manifesting in a myriad of ways. And if you got eyes to see, you're seeing it everywhere. Everywhere you're seeing it. And that is courtesy of Mars and Aries. That's just like, we ain't taking this shit no more. Aries, Mars and Aries, like I love this Mars energy and this Aries energy because Aries and Mars, they like will punch you first and ask questions later. That's that energy. It's like, I'll punch you first, I'll ask questions later. I'll light the match. And we'll deal with the consequences as they arise. And here's the thing, it's hothead energy, but it's needed. It's needed at times. It's needed when energies are especially stubborn and stuck. That kind of, let the chips fall where they may kind of energy, destructive energy, is needed. You need it. Like if you're about to, if you need to tear down a whole tower block of buildings, you don't come with a hammer. Do you? You don't come with a hammer and start to hammer. You'll be here until the next Kali Yuga. You come and you bring the explosives. That's Aries energy. Aries brings the noise and brings the funk. Tick, tick, tick. That's what I was hearing. You know? So, and it's also, it's like blowing the shit out of the way that is clouding up in any way still the true earth grids, because again, like I said, it's expressing itself through that cancerian energy. And in doing this, it's bringing establishment, the re-establishment of true divine order. And I'm getting that because Mars is the tower. So we got, you know, Mars is very prominent in today's energy through the expression of the degree, because it's the tower card. 16 is the tower card. But Mars is the tower. Aries is the emperor and the fool. So you're always speaking of leaping forward, brand new beginnings, but also establishing. And then the 28-degree mark is the Four of Wands in the minor arcana, and that will always speak about the beginning foundation of a new energy. Okay? But specifically the spiritual foundations that are necessary. The as above that must be set so that the below starts to shift. Remember I said to you at the beginning, the Aries energy is connected to the establishing of energetic foundations, hence the reason why in your energy field it's connected to both your crown and your root. It establishes the overall foundation that a cycle is then going to follow. It's the opening sign of the zodiac. So this is what we've got. Mars is fighting for this new beginning. And then we've got Jupiter is now in Gemini. So Jupiter in Gemini. Jupiter is quite comfortable in Gemini because, again, of course, Jupiter is the planet that rules over Gemini's sister sign, Sagittarius, as well as a co-ruling planet over Pisces. And Jupiter is all about the expansion that is necessary for us to live in truth and for us to live in accordance with dharmic principles. Jupiter is another lawbringer. Saturn brings in the judgments, in this way establishes law, and Jupiter brings forth the verdicts. So Jupiter is here also helping to expand our consciousness to align with our true divine net worth, because Jupiter is occurring in Gemini at 2 degrees, and that's a degree of Taurus, which will speak about our true divine net worth. But you must connect with that through your own sense of self and your own internal guidance and intuition. 2 is also the High Priestess in tarot energies. So Jupiter in Gemini at 2 degrees is the 8 of Swords. So we have, you know, Jupiter and Mercury in a, not a tight conjunction, but they're still pretty close together. So they're working together also. Mercury is very expansive, Jupiter is very expansive, both the ruling planets of Gemini and Sagittarius. They're here to break you out of the mental prisons that have you aligned with lies and deceptions that cater to falsity, that cater to you living below your value. No more of that shit. Whew, we're already an hour in, so let's see. Let's rush through these last ones because Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, there's no real shift since the full moon in Sagittarius. Saturn is chilling in Pisces at 18 degrees. Saturn is the world. Pisces is the hanged one, right? So Saturn is all about bringing the order that is necessary so that the inversion can be flipped properly. The 18-degree energy is the moon card in the tarot. It's also a Virgo astrological degree. 18 degrees is the 9 of Cups. So again, we're speaking about the liberation of the emotional fields. So Saturn is working slowly in helping us. And this is again in preparation for Cancer, where that foundation is set and laid in our emotional bodies. So Saturn is helping, and Saturn is helping us to bring order by confronting our shadow, because the 18-degree mark is the degree of the moon. We're dealing with our unconscious and subconscious beliefs and programming that have had us aligned to believing things about ourselves that aren't true. And also that have kept us in these emotional cycles where, because it's become so deeply embedded in just how we are, and we're not making the unconscious and subconscious link, we kept on repeating it. So Saturn is here to help liberate us of those deeply embedded emotional cycles that are based upon the programming of our waters through trauma and wounding. Uranus is in Taurus, still at 24 degrees, degree of Pisces, got more Piscean energy, right? So we've got a lot of Piscean energy in the slowest moving planets and the ones that are connected most to the collective picture. So we have Piscean energy expressing through Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Neptune is in Pisces, but Uranus is expressing themselves through Taurus at a Piscean degree. So this is showing us that everything that must be done on the ground level, those slower things, those processes that take a longer amount of time in order to integrate the wisdom we've acquired from the Piscean age while closing out all of the fuckery that had us bound. These are the grandfather planets kind of that are making sure that these things are set into place. So Uranus is also bringing forth a new wealth system through the Taurus energy. It's bringing forth the new wealth system, but in order to do that, it also has to close out these fucked up financial systems that supported fucked up values in the false matrix, right? Because our financial systems are just a reflection of our value systems and what we were tuned into by the false matrix, and this is why they have to go. Because they're based on fuckery and lies. They're based upon energies taking from other beings, harvesting, siphoning, playing around with all manner of things in order to keep people impoverished and in poverty, and to give some to some beings and nothing to others. And that's not how the Divine Father and Mother work. That's not how Source or God work. It's not it. So Uranus is here to bring in those changes. Neptune in Pisces. Neptunian energy, of course, will always be about helping us to flip the inversion by tuning ourselves into the truth of the waters. So Neptune helps us to travel the waters cosmically. And in the false matrix, they had you believe that those things that you were able to sometimes access or glimpse in movies were fake. And the way you travel to these places is through your imagination, right? And Neptune helps you to do that, helps you to access the higher octaves of wisdom, who you are, higher octaves of love, so that you're able to travel and bring that back and materialize it through the Venusian energy. So Neptune is still in Pisces at 29, closing degree of Pisces, closing out a lot of this karmic shit that has to be done with, that supported us not being able to materialize the dream. And what I will often say with that energy is that, there's a verse in the Bible that says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. And when we are able to touch Neptunian principles, see the possibility of who we are cosmologically, but we're not able to materialize and ground it, it does something to our souls. It traumatizes us in a different way. And so the Neptune energy is here to help us put an end to those karmic structures, systems, groups that had us constantly unable to access our soul's wisdom. And again, Pluto in Aquarius at 1 degree, Pluto's still moving through Aquarius at that 1 degree energy. It's Aries energy. So destroying what needs to be destroyed so that the new age can properly be built. Okay, so we have the continuation of the same energy. And last but not least, we've got the nodes. North node is 12 degrees Aries, and South Node is 12 degrees Libra, 12-12 energy, foreshadowing the new moon in Leo at 12 degrees. A lot of 12 energy you'll see right now, 12-12, 12-21. I've spoken about this on my other channel, which is also 3-3 energy, which speaks of the masters rising again on the planet. The 12, of course, is the hanged one. So we have, again, Aries busting through the inversion with this North Node. And at the South Node, Libra, it speaks again of all of the ways that the inversion was supported through the giving of ourselves to other beings, and allowing ourselves also to be altered and to be changed and to be shifted, instead of owning our own energy for ourselves and honoring that and only being around beings that honor that too. Virgo teaches us very important lessons of self-honor so that our energy fields are protected and we can't be harvested. And if we don't get those lessons and we move into Libra and start to get involved with other beings, then we are constantly, it's a field day. So this Aries-Libra axis is, especially at the 12-degree mark, which is also a degree of Pisces, it's dealing with taking back authority over our energy fields so that we can't be siphoned through these karmic exchanges that the false matrix depended upon us being in, so that we would continue to elongate one another's suffering and therefore lower all of our frequencies to keep us stuck in these wormholes, portals, dimensions, etc. So, Lilith, she's moving through Virgo. Again, this is about liberating you into being fully self-honoring. And Chiron is in Aries at 22 degrees. So we've still got 22 is that Capricorn energy. You know, 22 is the establishment of material contracts. So this is also speaking to me about the shift in headship. Aries speaks of headship. The shift in headship. Headship. The return of the true Godhead. And the return of the true Godhead is when you sit back on the throne over self. And when we do that and we become sovereign, then all of these fake ass Ponzi schemes and systems have to fall down too. And so Chiron is also even speaking to how our wounds in those areas help us to rise into that place. It's helping you now, those of you who have been the most wounded in all of this, these psyop activities of the false matrix, and who now know how this thing works and how to move through it. It's not that it's easy, but you're able to. And as you do that, as you heal yourself, again, like I said, some beings have more emotional quotient. When you make a decision to heal, tectonic plate shift, earthquakes occur, etc. So I'm going to leave it there. 1:11, 1 hour 11 in, 1 hour 11 minutes in. Thank you so much for chilling with me if you've made it so far. If you would like to donate to my work and my channel, you can do so through my Ko-Fi and my PayPal, which I will put in the description box below. I'd really appreciate it if you would. It helps me to show up here, and I'm going through my own transitions as a single mom, with my own children also moving out of a lot of very stuck karmic fuckery energies that wouldn't let go. So if you feel called, this is not me. I don't want anyone to feel guilted or anything, but if you feel led, only if you feel led, then please feel free to do that, okay? You can support me in other ways by liking, sharing, commenting below. You can book me for services. You can check that out on my website, solara.info. You can join me for some of my group Q&As. I will be posting information about the upcoming one soon, because my life has been in a storm also. I haven't had the opportunity to figure out my June schedule quite yet, but I will get to it in the next day or so. If you'd like to join me on SUBSTACK, you can also. I'll put the information for that below. Oh, that's an important thing too. For the month of June, my SUBSTACK has no paywall. So normally, all access is available to my monthly and my annual patrons, and those of you who are over there for free, you get access, but not to everything. And so this month I have an open house on Substack where I'm not paywalling anything. So I write on Substack every single day, so if you need help navigating these energies, if you feel like you need a word of hope, I publish there every single day, sometimes a few times a day, very specifically notes on how to move through these energies. So you're very welcome to join me there. I think that's it. Ooh, one more, and I should have said this at the beginning. My messages are now available in Spanish on Substack, courtesy of Marcia Estrago of 12 Cups Publishing, who is now translating all of my daily messages, which are now called sunrise salutations, because I woke up one day and just with the sun and started to write, and it just kind of became a habit. So I write every single morning and post about the energies, and Marcia is translating them and putting them up on another Substack, which is called Solare Escribe. So I'm going to put the information for how you can join that if you're interested, and if you're a Spanish speaker or you know other beings who are Spanish speakers who would benefit from the work that I put out in the world, then please, by all means, you can direct them there too. And yeah, that really is it. I wish you guys a really beautiful new moon in Gemini. I look forward to seeing some of you this month, but until next time, be well.